Hello and welcome. My name is Ben Hales with Transform My Poker. And today we're going to talk about how to make great decisions in big pots. Okay, so big pots are the ones which make or break us, and it's vital that we're able to take the best decisions possible. So in big pots, what's different? Well, first of all, there's additional pressure. So you're feeling the pressure because there's more money involved. And these factors can alter the way we make our decisions. It's our job to make sure that we apply the same thought processes to these pots as we would to any other type of pot. If we can do this, we're much more likely to come up with good solutions and make smart choices. Doing well under pressure is not easy, and this has been proven across all disciplines, all sports. We see this with people crumbling under the pressure. But increasingly in the modern environment, we're seeing top sportsmen and women managing this far better than they used to. And the reasons are listed here. So first of all, they're taking good care of their physical and mental condition. This applies for poker players just as much as it does for golfers or tennis players. Yes, we're not running around as much, but we still need to be physically fit and certainly mentally fit. And that's why these top performers have mental game coaches as well as all the other coaches that they have in their entourage. So for you just need to make sure you're paying attention to the psychological part of the game and you're doing your best to make small improvements in the way that you handle yourself. Breathing, meditation techniques are very, very useful. These are employed by a lot of people. Living in the moment, blocking out distractions. This is a part of the same kind of zone of thought. And the other thing that top sportsmen and women do is they depend on routine and memory recall. So they have practiced something so many times it becomes second nature. And they're able to rely on this under times of extreme pressure. So if you want to make sure that you perform at your best at the key moments, and you don't know when they're going to be, they could be a week away, they might be 3 years away in the World Series of Poker. You don't know what's around the corner, but you do want to be well prepared for it. So make sure you're paying attention to this aspect of performance. Now, for me, one of the most important parts of all of this is to develop a routine for thinking, okay? So in a poker game, you need to approach each decision the same way. So you have a routine that you're going through, whether it's in big parts, small parts, medium parts. It doesn't matter. There's a thought process that you go through, which is a routine. Now, to start off with, I recommend you keep it quite simple and then add to it. Personally, my routine for thinking is already quite advanced because it's been developed over 2 decades of playing poker. But I want to share it with you anyway. I'll share the whole thing with you. But what I do want you to bear in mind is that a lot of this is going to be quite advanced. So just simplify it. Take what you like from it and use it, or use it as a basis for forming your own routine for thinking. You don't need to copy this exactly, but it will give you a template, something to work from. Okay, but there are difficult bits within it, and I recommend that you don't go through all of that to start with. Okay. So this is my routine for thinking, and the acronym is not particularly memorable, but I didn't want to mess around with the order in which I do things because I think it's really important that you do stick to the same order each time, and this is the one I like to go through. So before the cards are dealt to me, if I'm in a tournament, the first one is the tournament situation. If it's a cash game, then this is just simply missing. Okay, so you start with the second point, which is opponents. Think about them, think about your position on the table, and then the stack sizes. Simple. That's the first bit, tops. Once I've done that, I move to the action in front of me. Cards have been dealt. betting started, what's gone on, considering that, and then the immediate decision in front of me, what are the pot odds that I am facing. It's very important, and this one gets missed by a lot of people, but pot odds play a huge role in the way we should react to a situation. So it's important to think about the pot odds as soon as possible. And then the next three parts are very complicated, where I'm thinking about opponents' ranges and the way I should react to their ranges. And then finally, my hand, what are my hole cards, right? And this is my completed pre-flop thought process. The post-flop I'm not going to go through in any great detail, but it's very, very similar, and it just has a few different points to it. So SPR instead of stack sizes, it's the same thing. It's just a post-flop measurement, stack to pot ratio, and that this is telling me how deep I am in relation to the pot. So how many chips we're playing for, and then there's board texture added in to the post-flop analysis. So once the community cards are dealt, how does that affect the action? Good. So tops app God H and to spar BAP God H. They're my two bits of thought process and routine for thinking. You may take inspiration from this, but I recommend you keep it simple if you're starting out, because this is too much for a beginner to handle all at once. If you're enjoying this video, please click the like button, hit subscribe, get notifications, and you'll know when new content is out. The notifications button in particular is really useful because it lets you know when we've released some new content. Now, coming back to the routine that we were talking about, I can't stress enough that your routine needs practice. It needs drilling. And this can be very, very difficult when you're playing live at the table. So make sure that you do it every time you're looking at a poker hand, whether it's looking at someone else's hand or looking through some of your hand histories. Think through the hand the same way. So the same routine all of the time. It needs to become second nature so that it becomes something you can rely on in those big pots. So once you arrive in the big moment where you're under all that pressure, you're playing for big money, you're able to depend on something which is now ingrained. It's second nature. It's your go-to, all right? So remember, your routine doesn't need to be as advanced as mine, can be much more simplified, but you need to be in command of it. You need to know it inside out, because only then will you be able to truly rely on it in the big moments. So essentially, it's going to boil down to these two key ingredients. Firstly, you need to make sure you're paying attention to all of that mental game stuff so that you're able to be in the moment, to think clearly when the pressure's on. And secondly, you need to have something practiced that you can rely on in those moments, that logical and practiced thought process. Now, you've reached the end of this video, so I'm pretty confident that you're going to benefit from some additional free training. Please sign up for the free tournament training by clicking the link below this video. My name's Ben Hales. Thank you for listening.